Hey girls, hey! Hey boys, hey! Welcome back to my channel. This is Mama Beauties here, coming straight out of North Carolina. I hope everybody is having an awesome beginning of the week. And as promised, I am here with Nicole's second interview. Her first interview was just a choppy audio that was recorded in the park when she first talked to law enforcement. Her second video is 2 hours long. She asked for the police to pick her up, or the CBI or FBI, one of the law enforcement officers, to come pick her up. And I've got to get some of that gloss off. Sorry. And she got a ride to the station and it was recorded, but I can't find the audio on it or the video on it. I can only find the audio. So if somebody has the link, if there is a video to it, but I have listened to the audio back when it first came out and I re-listened to it and I am putting it in order in some of the things that she is saying. And so I'm going to repeat these things to you guys, hoping that something triggers you, hoping that something sticks out, and you can put it in the comments what you think or what you think is off. I'm also going to tell you some of my thoughts along with it as we go. Unfortunately, I can only make 30-minute videos at a time, so it looks like that this interview is going to take a couple of videos. Now, let's get started. The second interview that's not in the park, that was actually at the police station, was on August 16th. So it is 3 days after the murders. The agent starts by saying that they know she's tired and stressed. They say on the audio that she has voluntarily came in after requesting to be picked up. The agent says that she can leave at any time and she does not have to answer his questions if she does not want to. And she's not a criminal suspect. And he just basically relaxed her and took off any pressure that she might have to feel that she might have to tell the truth. He just basically let her know that she doesn't have to tell him crap. And I wish he would not have said this in the very beginning of that interview. She was nervous from deleting all those text messages, and so he needed to apply some pressure onto her. And unfortunately, he relieved the pressure with these opening statements. Now, he says that he just wants to know about Chris and their relationship. He asked for Chris's number again, like the other law enforcement officer did in the first interview, and she refuses to give it and says that she has deleted and cut Chris out of her life. Now, as much as they talked, you know that she probably knew that number, or at least one of the two, the work number or the personal number. She tells them that they have it. Then, in case Father chimes in this interview, because he came with her, that they gave it to Mark yesterday. And the agent says he probably has it, but just in case. And then she again says she doesn't have it, and she pretends to only remember that it starts with 910. The agent said, "Would you know it if it was recited to you?" She again says only the first three numbers. She does know that it is an NC number, though. She says that the 910 is an NC number. The agent asked the timeline of hers and Chris's relationship and how and where they met. He then asked her how long they've been dating and to tell her story in her own words. She says softly, "Okay. I think I met him sometime in June, might have been May," was her answer. "It was just talking at work. It was pretty casual. And he didn't have a wedding ring on finger." Those were her exact words. "And every time they talked, he never mentioned Shanann. And one day he just mentions that he has 2 kids. And she laughs and says, around Father's Day, he told her. And she thought it was cool and cute." NK says after that, he mentions getting a separation with his significant other, but says she did not know Shanann's name for a while. She then talks about her office job with Chris at Anadarko and him being a field operator. She admits to seeing him in the mornings between 6:15 to 7, and that is where they met. She said they just started talking over monitor issues, that he came into her office, but she does admit to seeing him before he came into her office, but not talking to him until Chris came in. So she had her eyes laid on him. She was looking and gawking and just peeking. She then admits to talking in the hallway after having great combos thereafter. And remember that the other coworker, this helps to solidify what the other coworker was saying, that they were having close conversations in the hallway as early as March. So she is even admitting that's where they ran into each other, was that hallway. The hallway of lies. So one day he brings up his kids and they had a lot in common and they hit it off. She says she never went out before Father's Day, but met up at the park. She admits she thinks he was interested in her. So that's why he told her about the divorce and the significant other. She said they took it to personal phones once they both were interested in each other. And they got away from the Anadarko phones because she did not want them associated with any of this. That's what she told the detective. I do not want them associated with this. So when she's saying that they changed to their personal phones because she did not want Anadarko associated with any of this. What does that mean? If it was just a secret affair, that's not that big of a deal to be associated with. But to not want Anadarko associated with a murder is a whole nother story. Was that what she was saying? Did she let that slip? Okay, she says that she forgot Chris's work number 2. She says around her birthday was the first meeting outside of work at the park by her house. So we all know that was the first week of July. But that birthday card that Chris gave, in case, suggests a whole nother story, doesn't it? So she's saying that they did not meet out in public at that park until around her birthday. She said they kept it pretty simple, but she doesn't remember what they talked about at that park, but they were there for a few hours. And she can't remember one thing they talked about. The agent brings up articles she may have read by now. It's been 3 days since the murders, so she says it happened so long ago, but says that they had a lot of conversation and they talked daily, and she only remembers the more recent stuff when it comes to details and times. But the earlier stuff, she has no idea. It's just a general idea of what they talked about, and she could not give details and times about the beginning of their relationship because she doesn't remember. She says pinpointing exact words is not going to happen. And the agent then asks for any times she had moments to pause in their relationship. Was there ever a time where she just stood back and was like, oh, that's a little off? She goes into them talking about marriage, about his marriage and where it had gone and what it had caused. She says he was never hostile or aggressive or ill. It was kind, but he did explain why it was not working, but it never scared her to this day. She looks back and sees no red lights with the way he spoke of his family. She says only 6 weeks they were dating, and he was an introvert and reserved around other people except for her. She says that not just in his home life, but around everyone he was like that. But she got him out of his shell. So Chris tells in this book that he was only like that with Shanann, that he couldn't have a voice with Shanann, that she was the only one that made him feel this way. But even his mistress says that he was like that with everyone. She said that he was an extreme introvert. But then, but she keeps saying that he's an introvert, but it's funny how she says he was a mild introvert. She said that he was not an extreme introvert, but if there was a scale of 1 to 10, that Chris would be about a 4 or a 5 introvert. He's really relaxed and chilled. She said they never argued or had yelling matches, but a couple of disagreements. She goes into how calm and rational she is during a disagreement and says that he was the same, that she was drawn to him for being so open-minded and open at communicating. They both were into fitness and healthy eating and gearheads and willing to try new stuff. She says they went out and always were at her place, and then she admits that she went to Shanann's twice. For the first time, it was just brief. She says it was not her life, so she respected the space and says that it would have been great honor to meet his kids, but they weren't going to do that for another 6 months or a year. But not now, she says. So, kids weren't something she wanted now. She said that she went to his house early in the relationship but does not know the name of his street. She then says that she thought he lived in the basement. She said that the first time she sat on the living room floor of the house, and that was the fourth. She said that he grilled chicken and carrots and they ate them before they left, and that was all he had. We all saw all the hoarding of everything that was in those cabinets. So, I don't know, maybe because Shanann wasn't there to stock up, that Chris ate everything and didn't bother to replace anything. But then NK's dad chimes in, acting concerned about the Thornton Police Department having her phones. The agent tells them that they won't see the content and that they are just helping them to extract the data off of it, but only they would be able to read the content. Now, why does that matter? Does NK's dad have connections in the Thornton Police Department? Why was he so concerned about Thornton Police seeing that phone? She again tries not to give the phone by saying things will play out whether she gives them the phone or not. But then NK's dad chimes in again saying that the phone just backs up what she's saying, so then she agrees to give it. The agent says that they can validate the things regardless. Then NK admits to going to the house again on the 14th or 15th of July. She admits to seeing all Chris was giving up and asks him to work on his marriage, and says that it made her feel bad for Shanann, and that we all know that is total BS, that she felt threatened, that the only thing she felt bad about that day is that they were trying to conceive before he met. If she didn't already know that Shanann was pregnant, which I know she did. She says that NK then tells the agent that at that point she backs away and says that she was getting cold feet. Then she says that he went to NC to try to, he wanted to try to listen to what NK was telling him to do, and he wanted to rekindle with Shanann because she had been telling him for weeks to do so since July 14th. NK makes it adamant, she's adamant that she's been telling him since she was at the house on July 14th and seen all of the beautiful life, that for 2 weeks straight she told him to fix things with his wife. And that Chris decided to do it because she said so. And the agent stops her and has her to sign the waiver for the phone to be searched for text, phone logs, and photos, phone data, and dates, and text content. She admits she does not want text leaked out to the public, and that they have nothing to do with the case, and that they are raunchy. She did not want her text out in public. Hello, Discovery. Too bad, so sad, sister. The agent then commends her for saying this kind of stuff in front of her father, and says not what they are, in front of her dad, and says not what they are after. I don't know what I meant by that. Agent says she does not have to consent to that. They may or may not, that she doesn't have to consent that he may or may not get a warrant if she doesn't, and ask if she understands, and she does, and she still doesn't give her the phone in this interview. Remember, she takes it home and tries to get everything out of it, and the next interview is when she walks in, and there is video of the third interview where she comes in with the two phones trying to get data from, or trying to get contacts from one to the other, and that will be the next interview we go over. But this one is the one before that. So she still doesn't give him the phone then. She actually keeps this phone for about 4 or 5 days. NK says she is so hungry at this time, but nothing is staying down, and her dad admits that she's not feeling good. She says she was sick earlier and not eating or sleeping. NK's dad says that they need to speed up the case because the longer it takes, the less sure they are of situations. But on the other end, he says, if you do just that only, is that enough? And I don't understand what that means. Let me read it again and maybe you guys will understand. Her dad chimes in and says, they need to speed up the case because the longer it takes, the less sure they are of situations. But on the other end, he says, if you do just that only, is that enough? Meaning, I guess the phone is just looking at the text messages enough? Is that to clear NK? So is he saying that the longer it takes, the less sure people are about NK's involvement? I just don't understand what he means there. But then NK interrupts her dad and says she just wants to sign to release only her and Chris's interactions on the phone. Was she worried about the Charlotte text messages that says the only thing she doesn't like about Chris is that he has children and that she will always be second to them? NK says she found out Shanann was pregnant Tuesday, the day after the murders. She realized Chris was a liar right then, and his wife may have been in danger, and it was day 2 of them missing, and she then got grossed out by Chris and deleted her entire phone of anything that had to do with Chris because it hurt her. And the hurt made her do so, and the lies made her question whether or not he had something to do with his wife and baby's disappearance. That's when she came forward. The agent admits that most people that delete messages or delete things from their phone are hiding things. She said that she found out that Shanann was 15 weeks pregnant, but their relationship had only been going on for 6 weeks. So why was she so mad about Shanann being 15 weeks pregnant? That was something that he had done months before they met. So she says she had a few quick things to say to him after that, but then she got rid of him. Then NK says that maybe his family was not coming back and not staying with a friend. NK's dad says that Wednesday he had to go over to NK's and help console her after all of this went down. So, how do you know that his family's not coming back? Why would you make such a statement when no one knew? NK said that she had so many photos on that phone that if he restored them, that he would not be able to tell which ones were for Chris and which ones were not. So he only needed to look at the photos that she sent in text. Is this saying she had a whole slew of nudes and that only if Chris got a few randos and that the rest of them were from her past? Or was she taking other pictures for other men? She says that she is still in shock, but she gave him the benefit of the doubt the first day. But the second day, Chris was a hot mess talking to her. So she cut him off and stopped talking to him. She tells agents that they only need to look in her phone from that Sunday night, from when Shanann came home to now, because anything before that is just small talk. She says a week back, there are a couple of times that they were talking about getting an apartment, and times that she texts, where's your wife moving to, and how close will she be to you, and what's your price range. so she wanted to make sure that she let them know that she did text talking about his wife before. She does sign the consent form for them to look through her phone, and she asks her dad if he wants to add anything to the consent form, and he does not answer, but looks at the agent and tells the agent that they want to give them everything, but want to be protected in doing so, is all. And the agent asks if the phone has a password and writes it down. The agent then asked to go back to North Carolina. She told agents all of their names and that they were visiting family and that they are from there. Mostly visitor, and then she adds in that they were mostly visiting her family. So you can tell that she has been updated on Nutgate. Otherwise, she would think that still that she was splitting the time back and forth like she was in the beginning. So she says that Shanann was spending most of their time with her family, and that when Chris went back up there, that they were spending most of their time with her family. So she knows about the turmoil in the Watts side. And she says that she had been there for weeks. She thinks he went on the last day of July. She thought that she had convinced him to fix things with Shanann, but she then goes into how it was reiterated to her several times that they were separating, and how he called her whenever he wanted, and she had to tell him not to call her when the kids are awake because you need to spend time with them, she says. She said that their calls were never restricted to times, and then she says that it was frustrating at times after work how she would have to wait, but she understood why at times. Why at the same time, she said. NK states that after the kids were asleep, Chris could do what he wanted, so she was never suspicious of him and Shanann's relationship, that he was in the basement, she was upstairs, and that they don't even speak. It was at certain times, but she put those time frames in place. She thought he should be hanging with the kids. Okay, so she contradicts herself right after each other. First, she said that the calls were never restricted to times. And then she says that she put certain times into place because she didn't want him talking to her while the kids were awake. So she just contradicted herself big time, and I didn't pick that up before. She said that she went to the basement on one of those visits, and there was a bed, and it was clean and organized, and it was a decent bed. How do you know it was a decent bed unless you laid on it? So I think that the rumors that they had intercourse in Shanann's home are very true. The agent then says even when the family's gone, he sleeps in the basement. And then she then takes that back and says sometimes he went up there to sleep if Shanann was gone, but said he did not like that bed. She was like, okay. Back to NC, she said he frequently called her while he was there. She said that they talked, and Chris said that she was receptive to not trying. She was receptive to not trying, which means that he told her he wasn't going to try, and she was receptive to it. Instead of doing what NK said that she told him to do, which was try to fix it, but her exact words was said that Chris told her that Shanann was receptive to not trying. So he suggested it first. So her whole telling him to suggest fixing it doesn't make sense, because she just said that she was receptive to not trying. So she must have told him to tell her that they weren't fixing it, and she was receptive. So she is just getting caught in all kinds of tangle webs she weaves. Chris tells her that Shanann's mind is set, that she wants out. He says neither wanted to try anymore and told Nikki the next day the house was going on the market. And he said it was Shanann's idea. She said when he got back, she told him that the house would sell fast and he needed to start looking for places to live. She started helping him, but asked if he wanted a 3-bedroom, where he wanted to live. He said Brighton and a 2-bedroom. She thought it was cute because her and her sister had bunk beds growing up and they were the same age apart as Bella and Cece. But she does not use their names. She keeps calling the Shanann her and the girls his children. She was very hesitant to say Shanann's name the one time she did, and the agent asked if she was comfortable saying it, and she was like, "Oh, Shanann." She said she was excited for helping him, and she said she was asked that she did ask him, where is your wife moving to? So she could look for places close to his wife for the kids. She said that he had always said that they were going to do 50-50 custody because that's what the state of Colorado usually does. But they had not discussed it with Shanann, but said he thought she was on board because she was checked out and wanted that too. She told Chris to read articles about what separation does to kids. But then she turns around and says that her and her sis were the same age as as the babies, Bella and Cece, when her parents divorced, and that it didn't affect her at all. She said that it hit Chris harder when she brought the kids up. She said that the girls will get 2 Christmases if they did separate, and that it wasn't that bad. She said that they had plans to go look at places the same week he killed his family. And, well, she didn't say kill his family in their interview. She just said that they had plans to go look for places that week. And Nikki says that her lease was up in July and that she was not moving in with him. And she took things with Chris very slow. She said they had separate lives and she was not ready to mingle them yet. She told Chris that he needed space and to not jump in a relationship where they see each other every day. She just wanted to see him on the weeks that he would not have his kids once they got 50-50, and she said they needed separate spaces. Chris needed his own place to develop his identity again and to get it back. She said he has been so wrapped up in this whole thing, he has got in his own life that he does not remember what it's like to be single or have time where it is just him. So this right here makes me think that she was telling him, you had kids, you never really got to live your life, you never got to be just you. Let me repeat it again. She said that Chris needed his own place to develop his identity again and get it back. She said that he has been so wrapped up in this whole thing he has gotten in his own life that he does not remember what it's like to be single or have time where it is just him. Isn't that what he did the morning of his murder? He made it just him. Was she harassing him about being just him? So she told him to embrace that. It's a beautiful thing to be just him. She told Chris if she ever met his kids that she would teach them to make pottery and plant and watch it grow. But it was never, hey, we should get married. Hey, I want to make babies. Hey, I want to move in with you. Or hey, I want to meet your kids now and let's cut the mom out. Oh my gosh. All those things she's saying it wasn't, it was. She was lying about every single one of those things. Was she lying about the bottom where she says, hey, let's cut the mom out? She says that it was never about, hey, we should get married. And Chris said that she was talking about marriage and she was looking up wedding dresses. She said it was never about, hey, I want to make babies. We know that to be not true too. Chris is saying that she wanted to give him his first son. She said it was never about, hey, I want to move in with you, but we don't know that either. And if you want to get married, you definitely want to get in. And then, hey, I want to meet your kids. Maybe that is true. Maybe she wasn't ever saying, hey, I wanted to meet your kids. Maybe she didn't want nothing to do with the kids. Maybe that was the part that she wanted to eliminate. And then the last part, she said it was never about, hey, let's cut the mom out. So we all know that all those things she said before she said, let's cut the mom out, were things she said that were never said. And we all know they were. So now we know that she's probably said that last thing too, because she was lying about the rest. She said she did not want to rush. He did say he had a budget restriction of $1,100 a month for places. He told NK he could not afford a house, and she admits his house is full of very, 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 very nice things. She said very 4 times that his house was full of very, 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 very nice things. And then right after that, she says, with very expensive price tags. So she was very envious of all that. She wondered how they afforded it, and that he has that car. She didn't say that it was their car. She calls it his car here, but later calls it Shanann's car. She said she's not sure what that car cost, but she thinks it's about $80,000, and she says she knows his income, and it's not even close enough to pay for all of that. So we will finish the second part of that soon. Tell me what you think down below.